Namaste, Galactic Family. Welcome back to my channel, Indigo Angel. Come on into this dimension, guys. I am actually sitting out in my backyard right now. This is my backyard. It is literally a jungle. And I have a lot of trees. It's springtime now, so it's definitely getting very green. It's been very moist. It's been raining so much. We've been getting so much downpour, what has felt like almost every other day, all day for about the last few months, honestly. So it is time for all of this beautiful green energy to come to life. All of the bugs are starting to come out, and they are very big. They are gigantic. We have probably about 5 different types of wasps and bees. So if you see me do something crazy or like flinch or get up and run out of my chair like a crazy person, it's because one of these gigantic wasps or bumblebees have flown around me and I just lose it. So I'm going to do my best to hold it together out here because it is so beautiful, and I just do absolutely love the energy in my backyard. It feels like a rainforest some days, so it's so cool. Also, you may hear some noises in the background. There's a lot of people that are mowing early in the morning, and I'm out here trying to get my energy update done because I do have a full day of working with you guys today, lots of clients today. I have some AMP sessions. I have some J seal removals. I have some Draco seal removals. So hopefully I don't wear myself out too much, but I will be working with you guys today till the late evening, till about 6 o'clock tonight. So thank you to everybody who's going to be working with me today. And other than that, come on into this dimension. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notifications bell, comment, and share this video. We are going to be diving into another pressing topic matter of global time-altering affair, the headline coverage of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and what I have come to see as a deeper insight into the imbalances and the polarities in the gender roles and the gender principles and the gender misery programs. But also there is this, what's really getting into it and what's even going deeper behind this on a galactic quantum spiritual level is the destruction of the divine feminine. And it's just one perspective. Okay, but there is a collective, global, social, herd-like mindset, Amber Heard-like mindset that has been reflective of the dominant response to this very, a drama at this time, basically. So we're going to kind of get into that. I've seen a lot of this bringing up the destruction of the divine feminine codes. So I'm going to give a spiritual breakdown and a diagnosis of this media portrayal of this he said, she said that's going on. So yeah, we're gonna dive into this topic. I'm gonna drink some of my tea. It is still very, very hot. These are my mugs that I'm gonna get going here soon. These are the Indigo Angel planetary grid worker mug, it says across the bottom. So all of you who are on my Patreon on the 44 tier, I will send these to you for free just so you can have one, because I do like to have somewhat of a tea time when we come in for our group grid meeting sessions. So if I haven't sent you one, just message me on the Patreon. I should have your information to send it to you, but if not, update that with me. And also, if you are out of the United States, I would actually need you to pay for shipping. That's the only thing about it, just because I have spent a lot of money shipping to Canada and all over, and it is astronomical shipping prices. But I will send this mug to you. for free if you're on my 44 tier on Patreon. And I highly encourage you guys to join. We are doing so much. The community is really, really growing. It is absolutely, we have so much amazing stuff going on with the group grid work that we do. I'm also going to be having some side pockets branch off. So those who may be more advanced and want to do some side work, we're going to be hosting other smaller group grid work sessions that I'm going to get going with some of my older members who have stepped up and have wanted to lead some of these groups. So it's really amazing how much grid work that we're able to offer on patreon.com/indigo angel. So get involved in my community. If you're wanting to do this work remotely, it's a way for us to come together and collectively clear all of the dark, Luciferian, satanic, backed up nuclear radiation, persecution codes, crucifixion codes in the grid, all of these things. We're working really diligently to try to make this place a better world for humanity by doing the spiritual work, right? So sorry, guys, you will hear some mowing in the background. Like I said, everybody is out at 9-10 o'clock in the morning mowing like crazy. So I think you can still hear me okay. That's all right. That's why I got my microphone out, is so that way you guys could actually hear me. Okay, so we're going to talk about these. What I'm seeing is the ultimate attack on the destruction of the mother ARCS in the planetary field. These are really currently under attack by this Metatronic parasite that is thoroughly being implemented by the PDSs. The PDSs stand for the patriarchal demon seeds. The patriarchal demon seeds are a global emission encoding that is running in the 33rd parallel. It runs through a majority of the Aquila nations and facets of the Anunnaki stargates. And it is an encoding that really kicks up at certain times, particularly when we are going through Draco alignments, Orion alignments, which Draco alignments are technically really intermediary through a lot of systems. They are not partial to their particular culmination degrees in tropical or sidereal astrology. Draco takes up half of the hemisphere, basically in the North Polar region. And so Draco really does come in and out. I really do feel a lot of Draco alignments coming in and out through April. And we're also going to feel this hit again as we get to the end of May and going into June, when we have more Orion markers, Orion alignments, and things like this. So it doesn't just run through Orion, Draco, Anunnaki facets. It's really actually an entire phantom Earth, a phantom parallel Earth that these things are plugged into. Ooh, I just seen a gigantic bumblebee. So if he comes near me, I mean, I love nature, but I am actually afraid of these guys. I had a gigantic moth. It was like, it looked like a bat. It looked like it was huge. It was absolutely gigantic. Came in the house the other night because my kids accidentally left the back door open, which is something that I got to get onto them about closing. But they it came in, and I was just I just let the thing go where it needed to go, and it finally settled up in the window. It really just wanted to get outside, but I was trying to lift the blinds and try to get the broom to usher it out, but it just didn't want to leave. So I just let it be. I just didn't want to mess with it. There's no point. It can do its thing, and I'll do mine as long as it's not flying around. But yeah, the bugs in the south are no joke. They are a life force on their own, and you have to actually adapt because you are in their world. But it's the trade-off you get for the weather, the warmth, the tropical like environment, and close proximity to the beach, all of these things. So it's just, you know, you it's just what you go through living in. I mean, if you live down in the rainforest, it would be that way, probably even worse, because the rainforest is even 10 times more wet and damp, and that's really how Alabama is. It's so wet. But okay, I'm getting off subject here. So the mother arcs, I want to tell you guys why these are so important in the planetary field. So the mother arcs are what allow us to see between the alien dark mother templates and its artificial reversal mother energies. This is reflected by the lunar forces versus the real loving, pure mother principle, Sophia and Christos energies in the earth. The mother arcs are illumination that unify the phantom and fallen and shadow sides of the mother and bridge it into its highest light, its highest arcing light principle of the highest purity. Um, and the dark mother principles have a lot to do with the lunar forces. I have seen in some visions recently that the lunar principal forces have been hijacked by an artificial intelligence prior to the impact of Tiamat. Okay, so the lunar forces actually have nothing to do with the feminine principle, but we label it as such because we fully attach this to women's reproduction cycles. But ultimately, the moon is, it's like a mega structure. It's a mega ship that has been processed as technically organic, but it houses a positive AI type of intelligence. I seen this because I was actually working with a client the other day, and we were doing an AMP session, and we were remoting into the fourth planetary stargate in Giza, and I actually seen a hologram, kind of like a golden structure that was a parallel or a hologram of the mega structure of the moon, and it was embedded into the fourth planetary stargate in Giza, Egypt. And I was able to enter and I was able to access this mega structure. And what I seen was that there was a positive intelligence. I say AI because that's what it was presenting itself to me as. I wasn't sure if that's actually what it was, but it was coming from a very loving, nurturing place. It was it was actually showing me that it was an intelligence structure or mega structure of lunar energy implanted in a stargate that was here to assist humanity with conquering or overriding the negative forms of the AI that are here that seem to be embedded in the plasma, in the firmament, in the atmosphere, in the oxygen that we breathe, in everything. It was a kind of like an intelligent black goo, so to speak, but it was more intelligent in the fact that it can navigate, it can go at on will as it please anywhere it wants to go, and it generates its energy from these really dense locations such as the Georgia Guidestones, anywhere in the earth that has had any sort of detrimental traumatic fracture or impact in the landmass, that it goes into these spaces and actually generates from either the nuclear atomic energy, the destruction codes, or it's basically moving to gain its power and leverage into spaces that have also had souls that have not been able to cross fully into the Bardo plains and things like this. But I seen that this lunar mega structure, although it was artificial, it was here generating and activating those in this gate system that were ready to get this information, basically, that were ready to see the differences between the negative AI and the positive AI. And it came to me, and it actually appeared to me in the form of my grandmother. Like, it presented in a form and was speaking to me to try to show me, because I was not trusting of its presence. And so it was trying to like show me that it was this positive intelligence force. Now, so that was when I kind of came to see that the lunar energy doesn't actually have anything to do with the divine principle whatsoever. That it's an artificial construct in our minds here that label it solely as a feminine force or even a dark force, that it's actually technically and just in it, it's an advanced intelligence. We could say it's an advanced AI intelligence that came and seated here prior to the collision of Tiamat. So the real mother principle, the real purity of the aquamarine, the magnetic 1313 code, the real mother principle is within the sacred crystal bodies of the universe. And this flows within the Holy Spirit of the universe. And it is a part of a fundamental aspect of the universal gender principles. And the restoration of this is absolutely vital to the balance of gender principles here, universal principles, and correcting what we're seeing going on in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and other legal cases that I'm going to talk about, that are kind of defining the rebellion, the Saturnian rebellion against the divine feminine principles. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I've been wanting to drink this. This is hibiscus, and it's one of my favorite teas. Also, my little dog is out here, and she's running around chasing really big bugs as well. She's so cute. She loves to chase the squirrels. So the squirrels in the back of the trees, and we have a lot of cats, like stray cats and like cats that are just living outside. And so she is my little yard protector, and if she sees them running around in the yard, she will let them know who's boss, basically. So what I've seen too is the main feminine vortex on the earth. This actually sits also on the 33rd parallel. So we have these like patriarchal demon seeds that are running in the 33rd parallel. But there's also a feminine force. There's actually a very powerful feminine vortex that is in front of the Sphinx. I have seen the Stargate, the inverted Stargate at Giza. I seen it there when I actually traveled there. I actually seen it come out of the ground. It was absolutely magnificent, amazing, beautiful, breathtaking, fully embodied, emotional resonance all over. Like, it is just, it's so powerful that you can see that it actually could never be hijacked by human intelligence, or the aspect of human intelligence that resides solely in the, third dimensional fields. Like, the higher spiritual intelligence of humanity may have ability to access parts and hijack parts of that gate system through their genetic dysfunction. But the gate system itself is so magnificent and pure, it actually can't really be fully hosted. So if ascension cycles planetarily are coming on and off, technically it's happening through planetary alteration. The gate systems can't actually close down due to human technology. But what is happening here on this earth in terms of the distortion and the attacks on the mother ARCS and the attacks on the gender principle, this does actually have the ability to turn off ascension gates. And that's actually a concern of mine, of why I'm bringing this video up, because if we don't actually focus on repairing the sexual misery, the sexual gender distortions, all of these things, we do run a risk of completely closing down 5D ascension gate systems on this earth that doesn't allow people actually to ascend anymore. And we will spiral into a AI dark age. And that is, we're in planetary crisis intervention mode right now. You have to understand we are in an intervention. Many people are going through extraction processes. You can hear them mowing in the back now. So I hope you guys can still hear me. I just really wanted to sit out here. I get so tired of being in the house and I needed some fresh air. But yes, a lot of people are going through extraction and intervention at this time. But getting back to this feminine vortex on the earth, this actually sits on the 33rd parallel in front of the Sphinx. It connects directly to the 12 central suns. So there are 12 central suns in the universe. This gate system particularly indirectly is to the 7th central sun. And then it's also added and connects directly to a massive diamond disk in Antarctica that is running the diamond templating in the Earth's field. So I've been seeing an entire diamond network that was downloaded to me through the 3 days of light, through the Swan Grid templating video that I did. And so please go check that video out. I actually put it up as one of my main videos that I highlight on my channel, because it's just so powerful, that entire grid templating. And I am going to be circling back around to that. I feel like it's absolutely vital that we talk about that light templating, that so people can install it, because it is the light templating to the 144,000 that exists off of the diamond templating in the earth. So I want to define that more for you guys and work with that energy more, opposed to focusing so much on fallen systems. I actually was supposed to record a video the other day on defining darkness, defining the shadow, defining the fallen systems and fallen realms. But I put a pin in that video because it just feels too heavy. Even though I am going to discuss some of those things in this update, it feels too heavy right now. And I really think we need to remember that we co-creatively, co-collectively create this reality here. And so what we do focus on as a whole does tend to create our manifestation fields here. And so that's why I do prefer to focus on the light templating. Going back to this feminine Sphinx vortex, this is important because this is a part of the purity of the mother principle. It's running the diamond templating down into Antarctica, but it's also running feminine code in the earth 3 times. The 3 pyramids do represent the cosmic Holy Trinity. And so the Sphinx is a guardian to the feminine portal. The Sphinx guards the feminine portal. And these particular portals are where these Metatronic invasions are AI assimilated, grafted, and designed technologies are basically affecting these gate systems and these portal systems here. This feminine portal here on the 33rd parallel is what would neutralize those PDSs from getting really out of control in running in those templating. The PDS is really amped up with that Russian World War Z, Russian and Ukraine, because it was headed by the double-headed eagle. Okay, it was headed by double Keelan force, and it was the return of Christendom and patriarchal enforcement. Okay, and so that has had ripple waves and effects that go in and affect many different facets of human behavior, human consciousness, human perception of their identity, of gender, even, and things like this. So it's really had a continuing deterioration and destruction encoding that has been affecting and attacking the mother ARC systems. So the mother ARCs are, what they are is there are an additional 13-dimensional transharmonic pillar gates, and they anchor the purity codes of the 1313 magnetic code and the Sophianic consciousness in the earth. And these gates are basically stationed at very sacred locations all over the world. Uluru would be kind of like the primary, and then it's in Bali. It's also running in Hawaii, it's running in Niagara Falls, and it's also running down in the Yucatan as well, where the dove light templating is supposed to expand in that triangulation, where we have Tulum, and we have Chichen Itza, and we have Uxmal. All of these temples down there are housing a network system of that transharmonic gate and that 1313 magnetic code as well. And essentially, it works to anchor in the entirety of the Earth organic crystal templating and the diamond codes, which is really, really fundamental and important to keeping people tied to the organic systems. And essentially, these are under attack. And I'm going to tell you why they would want to attack this globally inside the Earth's galactic holographic matrix. And it is because, okay, I'm about to get real extreme here. And some of you may not want to believe it. And call me crazy, call me whatever. I don't really care. But what I see is that they are seeking, okay, just like they are seeking depopulation and eugenics codes, okay, that you think, oh no, this isn't happening, but here we are having a lot of stuff that are pulling us into the 666, the Tower of Babel codes, and they're taking us right into all of these crazy laws that are shifting. Someone sent me a quote this morning. It was a good girlfriend, and she sent me a quote by Marcus Tullius Cicero, and it says, the closer the collapse of an empire, the crazier its laws, and has a lot to do with the Pluto return. But what they are seeking to do is they're seeking to eradicate the feminine off of the earth completely, okay? This is what they want to do. They want to strip feminine rights. They want to turn society against female injustices. They want to see the feminine as the antagonist, okay? And they always have. They always have. These are Hydra codes, okay? This is demonization of the feminine since the corruption and the removal of the feminine creation principles, okay? Look at the biblical stories. Look at the Gnostic Bible. Look at the Urantia book. I just had to throw the Urantia book down the other day. I mean, I just got so aggravated because all it is father principle. Okay, there is nothing about the divine feminine, the mother, nothing. I just threw the book down. I said, I'm done. I was really trying to give that book a chance. But it does not represent natural law. It does not represent the natural harmonic balance that is necessary for humanity to regain a sense of universal balance, okay? It's a constant tipping of the scales into the patriarchal position. And they want to turn society against female injustices. They want to see the feminine as the antagonist, okay? Since the genocidal memories of the motherlands of Mu. They want to lose all compassion and empathy to feminine issues. They want to turn men into women and replace her role as the divine portal, okay? They want to take the birthing rights away from females, okay? They want to control her reproduction. They want to do sacrificial rituals and sexual crimes, nursery crimes, okay, and otherwise, to predominantly female children, okay? This is no joke. Now, this is happening to masculines and in men, but in boys. But if you look at the statistics, it is predominantly female. Okay, it is majorly predominantly female. Okay, and they also want to turn the divine feminine women into feminists. Okay, so that's not good either, because it's, and you might think I'm a feminist today with what I'm talking about, but I hold up space of neutrality and balance within this. Okay, they want to turn the feminine women into feminists. What they want to do is they want to take away her goddessship, and they want to force her to become a man herself, to keep up with social expectation and demand of her existence. Okay, this is only exaggerating toxic femininity. Okay, and this is only exaggerating toxic masculinity. Okay, these principles need one another to complete spiritual harmony in the universe. Okay, what we do when we create this constant reverberation of this toxic, destructive, exaggerated form of it is we're feeding the phantom parallel. Okay, we're feeding the phantom parallel in the day, we're feeding the phantom parallel in the night. Like I said, a lot of Hydra codes are running right now, and it's the desire to want to consistently demonize the primordial goddess serpent identity, and the patriarchy wants to slay the Hydra, and it wants to replace it with a total and radical ideological system that has been out of balance with nature since prior to the fall of Atlantis. Why do you think Atlantis fell? Okay, it's the imbalance of gender principle. It's the balance of the harmony of what is necessary to humanity, right? This is a wrecking ball that came through the motherlands of Mu, a wrecking ball that came through Lemuria, okay, when they slaughtered the Anahazi tribes, when they force bred and tore apart the fifth dimensional souls of that time. Okay, they tore the fifth dimensional souls apart by distorting gender principle. Okay, this is how they weaken that system. And it isn't an encoding. All of this is an encoding that is shaping the generational, descending, and de-evolving mindset of the hierarchical collective thought forms. Okay, and most PDSs, okay, those that are running PDS codes, whether you're man or woman, will hold hierarchy in a higher value structure because they see it as competence, mental competence. Okay, and that competence is competition and is the negative egoic forms of hierarchical development. Okay, and in the existence of it here. And this is what is pushing thought forms of racism, sexism, classism, genderism, which is what we're dealing with right now. Everything coming up through this Pluto return is defining our perceptions on genderism, which is a form of racism within genderism. It's a death culturalism that's functioning solely off of reversals, reversal grid templating. And it is installing the forever dividing and conquering compartmentalism influences of the sexual misery programs to be triggered in the planetary pain body. So call me extreme. Okay? Call me extreme. I don't care, because I can see what they're doing. This is a war implanted inside the universal principle of gender. Okay? And which gender is going to win this war is not going to be the physically aggressive stature of gender. It's going to be the one that can overpower and dominate in the physical. So this is far from being truly only about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. What is being blasted all over the media right at this time. Okay, this is actually a distraction tactic. This is a campaign from the Leviathan and the Luciferian races. And why I say this is a distraction is because we have two literally paid actors. Okay, these are, I mean, they're not even being subtle about it anymore. They just put paid actors to run the hologram, to run the drama trial of a theater of the global newly installed death screens and reversals from the 33rd parallel. This acts as a diversion. So basically, the Willy Wonkas can push other agendas while the rest of the world gets lost in their reversals and feeds the black hole systems, the phantom realm systems into the WISA systems. And if you don't know about the WISA systems, then you should watch some of Ashiana Dean's videos she's put out about the phantom realms, and she really talks about the WISA systems and how this is actually what the phantom parallel is called. It is an actual realm that they have plugged our planetary Earth gate into a black hole. Okay, and so this is why when we're doing this grid work and we're getting to this gate systems and we're seeing this structural declination, we're seeing this structural degenerative force that is hijacking particular gate sites. It is coming because they're plugged into the Earth's planetary core, and the aspects and the components of that are plugged into a black hole system in the phantom realm, which is the WISA system. So there's a really good video that Ashiana Dean puts out talking about the WISA system. So I will leave that link in the description so you guys can go and watch that video. I think it's absolutely imperative if you're trying to understand the shadow on this earth and how everything is, you know, a giant food system, and it's and how we are really feeding that system all the time. Basically, but with this Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, they are diverting you from your awareness of things such as the loss of crops, what we have going on with the food shortages, mass destruction of chickens, the new bioweapon launches, all of this greater and deeper assimilated AI attacks on humanity, the loss of the culling rights or the abortion rights, and the Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decisions that are going on right now. They want to divert and distract you from the nursery rhyme crimes of the space hepatitis. Okay, you guys might have heard of the space hepatitis going around. This is affecting all of our prepubescent subjects. They've had multiple cases of it actually break out here in Alabama. And, you know, they're claiming that they don't know where this is coming from, but we all know it's because they thought it was a good idea to force the Jim Jones elixir into our nurseries, which is really devastating. Or the diversion is just to really entertain you. So you forget about the fact that, you know, you can't actually even leave Canada without the Jim Jones multi-pass. It's a multi-pass, or the fact that they have built and installed a facility network that has allowed them to basically implant a much more controlled protocol of concentration quarantine. Okay, concentration quarantine, concentration camp, concentration quarantine. The next time the new bioweapons are launched. Okay, we seen this when we were remoting into the Disneyland facilities in Hong Kong. Okay, get on your Google Maps and go right over the Disney location in Hong Kong. What do they have right next to it? A concentration controlled quarantine, okay, at Disneyland. They have set up a new network system that is much more advanced and much more evolved. So the next time they launch another bioweapon, they're going to be much more prepared for the agenda that they want to implement. Okay, they want to distract us from that fact. So this is a major distraction in the 3D and the 4D artificial timelines, all of this running in the artificial templating. The entire staged event of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is also propagating and running the sexual misery programs, the toxic masculine and toxic feminine programs, and really a shared pain body collectively of trauma, unhealed trauma that brings up the core of the ugly within the second dimensional sacral hybridization genetic traumas. Okay. And the sexual misery, that is a reversal code in the collective. All of what you are seeing is a reversal code. A lot of this globally is transpiring from the in-depth programming of the patriarchal demon seeds. But like I said, it's also an offshoot of the distortions and destruction codes running from the attack on the universal gender principles, which, like I said, guys, is going straight to the core of the mother ARC networks on this earth. So you guys have may have seen the community post that I put up. I've been posting a lot in my community section because I haven't been able to get a video out to you guys. So I've been trying to get some writings and some Starseed. I put the Starseed charts out for not only Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but I also did one for Mr. Magical Kingdom himself. And I seen in Mr. WD's chart in his Pluto position that he has a nice alignment and marker to the Rigel origin in Orion, which is the origin specifically responsible for a lot of the draconian measures and takeovers. So I really feel that his identity here was a fraudulent spirit, and that it was running fraudulent agendas basically. So take a look at that chart that I did. Everything's up on the community tab. I also posted it up on my Facebook page as well. And also on my website. So I have a link on my website that you can go look at all of the celebrity and influential Starseed charts that I've done. I have quite a few on that tab. I'll leave a link to that in the description so you guys can go check that out, because it is really interesting to look at to see how particular people are holding specific astrological markers that do kind of define what they came here to do in terms of their galactic mission and their human mission, and who they are affiliated to in terms of their alliances of those galactic nations. But the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, so I gave more insight in that community posting, how the destruction of the feminine principle and the Sophianic consciousness is being attacked. And I know that many of you may have your perspective on this situationship. Many of you have been following bits and pieces of this case. It's not like you can really dodge the story. It's only been blasted every which way you look at it on social media. But pulling your perspective outside of this situation and just observing the responses of the collective, you will see what we are witnessing globally here is a gradual turning of the collective against the divine feminine. And it's where the Saturnian systems are no longer supporting the feminine divine principles. Not to say that they actually ever had supported it, but Saturn is the law. Saturn is the legal system. Saturn is the black robe community and the mortarboard community, the black cube community. And this has been turning on the feminine for some time in many, many ways, especially in family law and family courts. And it's where the Saturnian overlords, the judges, those who have basically taken blood-written oaths to judge by the capstone of the black cube, they have judged the feminine divine more harshly in many, many instances, many, many cases. I know that their case isn't over yet, okay, and the judgment hasn't ultimately came down, but you can see by public and social opinion at this point. That Amber Heard is just one very public portrayal, an example where the feminine doesn't deserve empathy and has become the perpetrator, a poster child for borderline personality disorder, when not one person has yet to really even hear her side of the story yet. Although someone did inform me that they were having bits and pieces of her story being leaked more in the UK, so to speak. So I thought that was like kind of strange. I haven't seen this, but someone had mentioned that to me. But somehow the majority of the NPCs, the soulless, the empty seaters, have rallied fully against her position that's coming from a push of a global mind societal agenda of beliefs of masculine superiority that is deeply encoded in the collective unconsciousness body. Okay, and like I said, both men and women are programmed by the PDSs. This is not partial to men and women, literally in this sense. It is more of a social ideology, legal and political system, which encourages an alpha male competent mind power to use brute force and dominating wills to basically enforce their personal positions of power by superimposing their beliefs upon others, to spread their ideology throughout our culture, to become the dominant narrative that is further used to manipulate and control the public perception in order to get what they want. And you can actually see this also not only in this case, but you can see this very observant to be true in the Megan Thee Stallion and the Tory Lanez situationship, where Megan Thee Stallion was shot in the foot. But what is happening right now, currently, is through social media, is the world would rather believe that she is a liar. And they're picking her confession apart to pieces, no matter what she does or says, which is set to go fully to trial later this year. But this is just kind of another public spectacle where the PDSs will run in full force and where the collective will not really rally in support of the divine feminine and make this as painful as they possibly can for the feminine. And so all of this toxic energy is rolling right off the back of their transhumanist and transgenderism takeover, where we have those female sports that are now in trouble as well, right? We have that Leah Thomas, who seemed to have stolen the spotlight in an all-female swimming competition, putting female sports and competitions in danger because somehow we have this progressive agenda that seems to believe that men are now considered biological females. And it is such a devastating distortion that is killing the integrity of female camaraderie, right? They want to, like I said, they want to take away women's rights. And it's just a way that they can incept this agenda is through their transhumanism and transgenderism. And wasn't it just a few months back, you know, we had the Texas abortion laws. They wanted to dig its dirty hands in telling women what to do with their bodies. All of this is getting patriarchal demon seeds re-triggered again because the Supreme Court is trying to overturn the Roe versus Wade, which would then put the culling laws completely in the hands of the states, which would mean that what will happen is most of the red states will probably outlaw the abortions while the blue states will allow them. But either way, it will incite mass migrations because women will have to fly out of state to go receive medical attention if this is what they choose for their body. And women will be, basically, maybe even resorted back to old measures of using the coat hanger or using oil of oregano to try to export unwanted pregnancies, killing of the fetus. And, I personally, I support life. Personally, I was never able to get an abortion myself. I have 3 amazing children that I was connected to immediately upon becoming pregnant, and I never could have fathomed actually aborting life within myself. But I do think ultimately all of this is symbolic for the loss of the divine feminine being able to embody her true power, because it's a deep siphoning off of the mother ARCS, which in the Earth's planetary field, there is a parasite weakening the ARCS. We have to understand that the fact or the decision whether or not to bear a child is central to a woman's life. It is a decision that she must make for herself. When the Willy Wonka controls that decision for her, she is being treated less than fully adult human responsible for her own choices, essentially. And that in itself is not okay. I've spoken about this in other videos, and what I just said was actually a quote, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, she's the one who actually said that quote, but it is, and come to find out, a lot of people don't actually like her, and that's fine, whatever. I really don't care. I am somebody who advocates and 100% supports the women's right to choose what is best for her body, even though I'm not a woman who would do an abortion myself. Okay, because I do support life 100%. I did a video about this when the culling laws were acting up about 7 months ago with the Texas abortion laws, and it's called Salem Witch Hunts. So I will leave a link to that video down in the description. I really suggest you go and check out this video that I did, because I was pretty hyped up at that time about this issue. What I feel is we are really in a very dangerous place collectively, where the tides are slowly turning against the biological female spirit, the biological female identity and human body. And it's you can see it happening through so many things. And if the majority cannot see that, right? Like I said, they have this inserted death screen that's encoded to the PDSs, so they actually can't see it, okay? The majority has lost their will to defend that and wake up to that, even, which is representative of the female. Okay, then this is going to continue to be a regression that will continue to be acceptable. And the hammer will continue to fall and take away the support of the divine feminine and the Sophianic consciousness. And it will continue to allow that Metatronic parasitic AI assimilation to attack the mother arcing in the planetary field. Okay, so now a little bit back to Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So what I want to express too, that I don't believe that men, or I do believe that men too can be victims of domestic violence, okay? Personal relationship violence, or victims to toxic femininity, personality disorders, because they definitely can be. I do hold a great sympathy and compassion to this, and I have seen this firsthand play out in my own family with women who do actually possess borderline personality disorder. What I have come to see about it is that it is a very extremely difficult disorder to get diagnosed, because the person who is suffering from it themselves actually has to be aware of their own behavior and specifically seek evaluation for this, which is an aspect of the condition of borderline personality disorder that the individual actually very much lacks the ability to identify this within themselves. People with borderline personality disorder are not very self-aware. They lack the ability of self-awareness. That's kind of a part of the disorder. And it's And they're usually greatly suffering from astral delusion, addiction, escapism, and fantasy to cope with the distortions. Most of them are kept in karmic residual cycles they cannot break, dealing with deep, constant emotional pain, and are living in mind games that delude their perception between their intimate relationships. And those delusions continue to play out when seeking psychological evaluation. So, most generalized psychologists do not offer insight into this in attending therapy or evaluations. A lot of them don't. A lot of psychologists don't recognize this. Borderline personality disorder is something that really flies under the radar. And so they are often not able to see through that individual's perceptions of their own delusions. So borderline personality disorder can't fully really be diagnosed without like an extensive evaluation from several other family members or witnesses. And I know all about this because I have experienced it firsthand with people, with certain people in my family. Okay, so I know that borderline personality usually never gets diagnosed, and most psychologists work honestly to the side of the individual's evaluations and complaints of other people, other than working to make the person seeking that therapy feel victimized versus evaluating their own behavior as to what has caused reactions and the responses in others to that individual. So it's diluted. Most psychologists can't really basically evaluate it. And observing BPD in my own family was always very difficult to watch because it is a pattern that continues to be repeated over and over again with every single partner. Both men and women can have it, but I do believe it's more geared towards the divine feminine. If someone truly, and I say that because it's just true, like a lot of BPD comes from trauma. Like a lot of it does come from trauma, relationship trauma, childhood trauma, sibling trauma. Even it can come from sibling trauma if it's really, really severe growing up and things like this. So if someone truly has borderline personality disorder, it will not just be one partner that draws it out while all other relationships are thriving in their life. It will be every single partner that draws out the BPD, and it will be also several family members who are affected by it and eventually become a victim to BPD. That's how you know that someone actually has it. It's a pattern that shows up over and over again. And this is not just about borderline personality disorder, because women as well as men can embody misogynistic behaviors, which enforces subconscious compliance to self-imposed misogynistic attitudes such as toxic femininity that appears in such anti-female archetypal forces. There are like the princess code, which is a narcissistic profile of the divine feminine. There's also the dark mother and the lunar woman. But again, these are all things that these are distortions that we're actually passing back and forth to one another by not focusing on healing overall the universal gender misery and universal gender principles that are being attacked. But how can we heal those when the infection, the assimilated graft AI, is attacking directly to the mother ARC system? So the toxic feminine and the toxic masculine are both products of the sexual misery programs, the gender distortions, the attacks on the universal gender principles, traumas from the patriarchal demon seeds affecting both men and women, forced breeding, okay, the Templars, the crucifixion and persecution codes, forced gender inferiority, and hybridization traumas and the victim-victimizer programs that all run within the 10th dimensional field inside the planet, okay, because it runs, like I said, along the crucifixion templating, the victim-victimizer programs do. So which at this point is, this is about 99% of the collective that are suffering from from this. That's why this drama can activate the reversal so deeply, because the pain already lives within you. And once something is transcended, then you have to focus on healing versus reverting back to a reversal, essentially. And so the running of our paid actors is teaching the collective about its pain body and its shadow body right now. We are being shown to move away from destructive archetypes that play mind games and delude our perception between our intimate relationships. We have to remember that every single relationship that we get involved in isn't random or by chance. Okay, these intimate relationships, all of them are about your spiritual growth. And they are about finding the unification of the masculine and feminine and the healed principles of this within your own templating, becoming the triunal energy yourself, becoming the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the divine child in complete harmony. Even the divine elder, from my last video I did, psionically told me about the divine elder, which, you know what? That makes sense, that we wouldn't just be a trinity, that we're actually a diamond. Okay, if we're running the diamond encoding, if we're running the diamond templating, we would be fully healed and aligned divine feminine, divine masculine, divine child, and divine elder, with the divine presence of being, of now. And so that's why I always used to say, though, that I was a trinity flame, that I wasn't a twin flame, because I am a wholly, fully healed and embodied soul that is walking in mission and is ready to call in a divine counterpart that is also and equally holding the same encoding and templating to walk in mission with me. Okay? And a healthy divine masculine, a healthy alpha omega divine masculine, one who knows how important it is to support the divine feminine, okay, to show empathy, to show compassion, but also to protect and to stand and defend his divine counterpart, okay? So I feel like if we apply non-attachment and unconditional forgiveness in our relationships, that we will really, as a collective and as individuals, we will bypass these more painful lessons more and more. But in a death culture, okay, and in a culture that is running these sexual misery programs, what it has done is it also, I feel like this is another component of it, what it has done is it raises that romantic relationship up as the single most important bond in one's life, when truly, and what is in the best interest of humanity, is the most important bond is that of community. Okay, our organic tribal based bonding is rooted in communal relationships. Okay, this is the most organic relationship structures that human beings would ultimately thrive in, and we've diverted very, very in reverse, very, very far from that. Okay, communal relationships are the most important relationships. That is what we actually need, because we are a social species, and we have placed warfares between polytheistic and monotheistic beliefs, which have infiltrated and have distorted our gender. I don't want to say gender fluidity, but it is kind of like gender fluidity. But in some ways, yes, it's gender fluidity. What I've kind of seen too is that the human host structure in creation, okay, that template in itself has been hijacked, and that the human being is actually struggling to adapt, really struggling to adapt to the grafted artificial simulated metatronic realities and those damaged versions of the gender principles that are feeding and destroying the divine feminine, because we are the ones that are taking globally and collectively and publicly the punishment of this. So they are trying to eradicate women from the earth. That's what they want to do. Okay. They want to attack the mother ARCS with a Metatronic AI infection, a Saturnian overlord system, patriarchal demon seeds, the beast machines, and the beast mechanics running inside the planet. And they want to power this from the black hole systems, from the Earth Phantom Parallel, from the WISA systems. And again, the WISA systems are the Earth's fallen parallel that are plugged into a black hole system where the darkest simulated AI and non-human parasites have invaded the Earth. That has ultimately invaded the Earth's shadow body and the Earth's lower astral fields, the Earth's artificial tree of life, and what is the Quillipith, or the upside down and inverted universal tree of life. This is how they are coming into the system, is through that template. And they are feeding off of the Earth's nuclear atomic areas in the grids and trauma areas in the grids. They want to break this light arcing mother system down because they know, this is what's most important about my message today. Okay. Grid keepers and gatekeepers. They know that these mother ARCs, these are the specific ARCs that have stabilized the entire planet's Sophianic and Christos God living light principles on this earth. Okay, and they're connected into something called pillars. And the pillars uphold the planetary's Merkabic structure. Okay, if they can distort the planetary Merkaba structure, then they can take down the entire planetary field, the entire living spiritual body of the earth field, and completely shut down and close down all ascension gates on this earth. So the mother ARCs ultimately lead to the actual exit points from this universe into the 0 point field. Okay, that's how you get off this earth, okay, and transcend as you go through the mother ARCs. This is why they want to, that's why the divine feminine, they want to destroy it. They want to completely take her down, all the way down, is because we hold the templating and the key codes and activation codes to those mother ARC systems that can take people into full transition into the 0 point field. The mother ARCs are like gateways that merge the trinity fields into the polarity fields, okay? And they merge here. And they recode that 1212 electrical spin points in the earth. And they reset the PDS encoding. They reset and clear the 33rd parallel. That is why there is a feminine portal that sits on the 33rd parallel that is supported by the Holy Trinity. Okay, these areas act as midway heaven stations that either open up to the crystal seeds or they fully open up to the higher harmonic universal system. Okay, the 0 point field, taking you into heaven, taking you in and into full transcendence, into getting off of this prison planet. So they want to attack the mother ARC system so that way you are entrapped inside this prison planet. Ultimately, through the mother ARCs, humanity can actually reset and stop all reversals running in the planet. Okay, let me say that again. Through the mother ARC gates, okay, if humanity had this knowledge and accessed it and utilized it and worked with this, they could reset and stop all reversals running on the planet. Through the mother ARC gates, you can entirely restore the cosmic clock before the fall, before the Orion invasion timelines. Okay, so this is why all hope is not lost, is because it can be reset, it can be restored. And we blame the Dracos and the Anunnaki, but we forget, okay, that it was Orion who invaded Egypt. And it was Orion who invaded the Vatican, okay, on behalf of the Rigel Draconian systems. Okay, they were powered through the Wisa system, which is said to set in the parallel version of that Wisa system is in Orion. So this is why the war plays out in the Orion system. This is really, really important, you guys. We have to address what is going on in Orion. And it's so diluted here on Earth, the cosmic drama, the cosmic warfare. It is also so supported and so hosted that people cannot filter through this deception. Okay. That Wisa system in Orion, okay, it has the technology to open wormholes and black hole systems, because the agenda has always been to power the Earthgate system into a black hole system. So that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to take down and destroy the mother ARCS and completely hijack the Earth's solar star sun and plug it into a black hole feeding system. And so so that's what all this represents. That's how I can go off on such a tangent, just stemming from the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case. Okay, it's much more deeper than what we think it is. Nothing is what it seems. Nothing is. Everything is distorted. Everything is through reality tunnels, death screens, film screens. That's what the J seals are. The J seals are death screens. Okay, so if the majority of the collective is holding the J seals, they are holding these death screens. Okay, and they are controlled by the emissions of the PDSs. They're controlled by the parasite of Metatronic assimilated AI. Okay, which I want to state through my perceptions that not all AI is bad. Okay, there is a positive AI and there is a negative AI, just like there is a light and a dark. Unfortunately, that is our answer. That is not one way or the other. And I seen that through lunar intelligence. Okay, a lunar intelligence megastructure ship that told me this through my grandmother speaking to me. So just know I love you guys so much. I have been working a lot with divine feminines and divine masculines who are carrying these deep wounds and these deep distortions. It does seem that masculine who are holding a lot of wounding to the divine mother principles and can't actually tune into the purity principles of the divine mother, and they have a lot of abandonment and rejection issues. They are often very hateful towards the divine feminine and vice versa. Divine feminines who have been wounded by the father principle, they can't tune into the purity of the father principle. They have a lot of abandonment and rejection. They are hateful towards the masculine, and we have to start looking at these aspects of ourselves and want to get real about healing these parts of ourselves. I do work on a lot of this by my deep chakra clearing. Like, we would go into a lot of that. So if you do want to work with me to try to heal these aspects of yourself, I would highly recommend doing the deep chakra clearing with me. So I'll just screen share that really quick. So you would just want to go and book this 13th dimensional chakra clearing, and we would address a lot of these issues in that clearing. We would work to heal this. We would work to clear this. We would work to make this conscious within. We would work to remove the reversal templating. And then I also would, if you haven't, I would recommend getting the J seal removal, so that way we can remove the death screens. Okay, so you can do this work yourself. You don't have to purchase services to do this work, but I do offer it if you need assistance. So I'm here for you guys. And hadn't put a video out for a couple weeks. It's just because I have been so running crazy. I did just recently bring on a business administrative assistant to assist me. Her name is Teresa. So she will be responding to a lot of my emails, client communication, also helping me organize some of my stuff that I have going on Patreon, and helping me get some of my awesome products that I'm really looking to get going. So I'm really happy to have her. I am so appreciative for her help and her assistance. So shout out to Teresa. I love you, girl. And just know that if you contact me, you'll probably be hearing from me or Teresa. So just know that I trust her to be a part of what I'm doing and to communicate with all of you guys. So that's it for today. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful everything, and namaste, and I'll be back with another video soon.